Hi, my name's Scott. This is my wife Jaime. We farm here at Callisham Farm, just outside the village of Meavy, within the Dartmoor National Park. We're third generation farmers. Jaime's granddad bought it back in the late 60s, early 70s. Jaime's parents run it, and we've now took the farm over. We keep red and white pedigree Herefords alongside a small suckler herd, Angus and Hereford cross. We keep Lleyn sheep on the farm. We've got a breeding flock of 250 Lleyn sheep on the farm. We keep a few small grey-faced Dartmoor flock, and my oldest son Charles has got a few Welsh Black mountain sheep on the farm also. We're members of the DFA, Dartmoor Farmers Association. We have been now for a number of years. We enjoy being members of the DFA. It's brought us different avenues that we can investigate different types of farming. And also the educational side of stuff. It's bringing children onto the farm through FIPL funding, and being part of that association, I think, has opened us up as a farm, and reconnecting with people and within the Dartmoor National Park.
I work at Callisham Farm within a small team. We work alongside Dartmoor Farmers to host farm visits. I'm the engagement officer, so I work with the schools and the farmers, bringing them together so that the visits can happen on farm. Also, part of my job is risk assessing the farms and helping the farmers with activities and just making them feel generally at ease about hosting farm visits.
Summer's always a busy time on Callisham, and as other farms on Dartmoor. We're happy to see the stock go out the sheds, obviously, and then we're prepping fields up for harvest time, be that harrowing, rolling, fertiliser spreading or dung spreading. Also, obviously, shearing sheep at summertime. It's been a pretty dry summer this year, so we've had to be careful with grazing and shutting off certain fields for stock for grazing, and also shutting fields for grass. So that's been quite difficult this year, dealing with that. But we get through it like we do every other year, working together, Jaime helping, our sons helping out where they can. Also on farm at the moment, we're in the process of diversifying. We're putting up a couple of shepherd's huts in a small orchard, the back of some nice old stone barns we have on the farm. It's something we've been doing for the last couple of years now. Finding time to do it is not always easy with the farm as well, but it's coming on and we're nearly there. It's something I think a lot of farms are having to do. Find those a little bit of extra money if you can here and there. So hopefully that will soon be up and running. Also, with our boys home from uni and off school at the moment through the summer, an extra pair of hands for helping out, be it on the farm or within the shepherd's huts, has always been a great help. Our oldest boy Charles is exceptionally keen on coming to the farm at a later date. He works off farm at the moment on another local farm. He's very, very keen. Two younger boys, not quite so keen, but they know the job when we ask them to do certain stuff, and it's nice to have them back, and it's nice to have them home, and it's that extra pair of hands to really get the work done.
We've found that there's been a really big disconnect with children and nature. So this project has been so important, getting children back out onto farms, learning where their food comes from. So many children now are just, spend so much time inside. People's gardens are getting smaller, people's time outside is just getting less and less. So for the children to come along on a day to a Dartmoor farm is just, a true gift, really. The visits are completely fully funded, including the transport, which has been a major issue for schools who, are lacking funding and finding it really hard to get their children out and about. The children, they turn up at the farms. They're really quite nervous when they come. It smells, it's noisy. But they get off the bus, they pop their bags down, they meet the farmers, normally within an hour, their wellies on, happy, you know, feeding cows, you know, stroking any animal they can, you know, getting up close to the animals, we've found is the most important thing. And that's the bit they love the most. Plus the freedom to have a little run around in a field and, you know, just be up high and see a lovely view. You know, lots of people comment on the views. You know, the children really love it. So, and the teachers as well. They've been really, really positive about the whole thing. Within that, we had 9 farms that hosted the visits with, you know, great farmers. Often the farmers were very new to this. You know, they've really stepped up. They've kind of come along to the meeting, you know, as have we. You know, we didn't know what we were doing, what to expect at all. You know, they've done the same, and everyone's, you know, really, really thrived from, you know, doing the visits. This year, we really hope to be able to offer more visits to more schools and, you know, spread the net a bit further just to get the message, you know, out there, you know, which we feel is really important. All of the Dartmoor farmers who host visits, you know, and all of the Dartmoor farmers basically are so passionate about their farms and their animals and what they manage to produce on their farms. You know, it speaks volumes and it's so, so important. On a general farm visit, we normally do a tour of the farm, which involves a walk. We've had walks up onto the common to look at peat bogs. We've looked at hedges, streams, trees. We've done lots of identification. We've looked at dung beetles. You know, it's been huge, and every farm is so different in what they can offer, but all farmers work really well with nature and encouraging as much as they can onto their farms.
I just following on from Jay with that, I think the connection that we made with the children when they come on farm was the realism to them is that we're not just farmers, we're also environmentalists as well. Farmers love nature. We work within the nature that's on the farm, and to get the kids out on the farm through the woodland, through our wetland. We've got some wetland out on the other end of the farm. We've got a lot of streams on the farm. We've got massive amount of different wildlife, and to explain that to the children and see their eyes opening up and understanding that we're not just farmers, you know, driving around, if you like, in a tractor bumping around. We're actually environmentalists. We're looking after our hedgerows, our woodlands, our wetlands, and there's a massive amount of wildlife in there. And I think, you know, us as, you know, moving forward and reconnecting with those children, making them realise that, you know, we're not just producing food that they're going to the supermarket to get up, to pick up or put on their plate. We're looking after the environment that they're living in. And I think that was really quite, it opened their eyes up, and it's something new for them. The realism is that, like I said, we're not just farmers, we are environmentalists at heart as well. And I think that was just great to see. And that connection with them was fantastic. On our farm, we've got a lot of hedgerows, and within the 10 active farms within the Fipple Farm project, they've got over 100 miles of hedgerows on their farms. And obviously there's a massive amount of diversification in there regards to animals and plants and different species. Also on the farms, there's a lot of permanent pasture. So as far as carbon capture and stuff is great. There's a big thing at the moment in there, obviously, about carbon capture. So we got a lot of permanent pasture. And in the woodland, obviously, we're capturing carbon within the woodlands. There's a lot of woodland on Dartmoor. And it's, you know, it's just, again, it's all part of farming, in making people realise that there's a lot more to farming than what they first realise.
From last year, we have learnt the importance of the farm visits. You know, they've allowed so many children onto farms. We managed to get 1,000 children from, you know, quite inner city schools, you know, around the Dartmoor farms onto farms. You know, it's an amazing achievement. We set out to do 500, you know, to get 500 children onto farms, and we managed to get 1,000 children onto farms, and 21 schools took part. So we were so pleased with that. We really want the project to continue. That is our really big aim. We want it to go forward. We want to get more and more children onto farms. We want to spread the message, you know, that farmers do a fantastic job every day putting food on the table. And now, you know, they're moving more towards educating children to where their food comes from. And they're really enjoying it. They're getting so much out of the project themselves. We just really hope it continues.
Yeah, I think leading on from what Jamie's just said, I think as a farmer, being not really being open, and farmers like things to be closed off, but actually once the kids come on farm, connecting with the children, and seeing their faces, if you like, light up when you're telling them and showing them the cattle and the sheep, and being very, very apprehensive actually in the beginning, but now really getting so much joy and seeing their little faces light up. It's been fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully the next round of funding and the next school visits coming onto the farm. Also, when we host the farms, we get a payment through the FIPL funding for that hosting that farm. So as a farm, as a business moving forward, obviously that's a form of diversification for us, bringing people onto the farm, educating them as far as agriculture is concerned, and it's a win-win really, and it's great. We're coming to the end of the summer now on Callisham, and it's a different time, a different season, but all part of the farming calendar. Thinking about the cows coming back in the sheds for the winter, putting the ram in with the sheep, prepping up for another round of lambing in the spring, and also this time of year we got picking lambs for stores, for market, and also store cattle, taking it to the market. So there's a lot going on.
We're really looking forward to sort of hunkering down for winter. We're going to be, we're looking towards the autumn to bring, getting the sheds ready to bring the cows in. We have the rams going in, ready for next year's new lot of lambs, which is always really exciting. The rams will go in, beginning of November. So we're a long way away from that now, but, you do need to start thinking about stuff, a good couple of months in advance to get everything ready so it's fit and well to go back to work, basically. We always find looking forward to the spring, exciting, but we do like winter as well. The cows come back closer to the farm. They're all cozy in the sheds. You know where everything is. You don't have anyone, ringing you to say, oh, such and such is out. Not normally. It's a nice time of year, and you know where you're working for the winter. I don't know about what Scott would say about that. He's the one that has to do it every day. Well, I'm in my nice warm office, but there you go.
That's part and parcel, isn't it? It's all part of it's all part of the farming, and that's why we do it. We love it, and it's if you didn't love it, you wouldn't be doing it. And it's it's where we live. We're in Dartmoor, and it's it's a beautiful place to live, and I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.